I'm going to start by saying this. We were the best team in the league for all of 3 days. We take that. The Lions showed out in Kansas City, and we got to witness it firsthand. I mean, what a night.
Yeah, that was amazing. Hands down, the best sporting event I've ever been to. Atmosphere was unreal. Arrowhead is as loud as they say it is. My ears felt like they were going to pop at points. That was so loud.
That is funny because I was also doubting it. I didn't think it would be that loud.
It's an outdoor stadium.
But it really was. I'm convinced they like pump noise in there. Like they have crowd volume coming through the speakers because otherwise, like, I don't think it's humanly possible, like, for humans to make that much noise.
Yeah, I think I saw like the decibel meter get up to like 150, 160. Maybe that's not as crazy it is, but in that stadium, it sounded so loud. And, Chiefs fans were very salty. They weren't happy with us. Hey, we might have been talking our shit, but
word on the street is the Lions fans there were flapping their gums a little bit, and but hey, when you're winning and when you take down the Super Bowl champs on ring night, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, that as sad as it is, that's got to be one of the best Lions wins in the past 30 years, and it came week 1 of the regular season.
For sure. Well, let's jump right into it. Welcome to season 1, episode 3 of the D-League podcast. As you guys know, I'm Noah, your host here alongside with my co-host Hunter. Go for it, my brother.
Yep, Clark Bart here. Let's just dive right in. So we started with a quick NFL recap. We talked about the Lions a little bit, but actually into the game, that pick 6 was awesome. It was nice to see how good the Lions look good. And that was a game that the same old Lions, they're losing that every single day of the week and twice on Sunday, 3 times on Thursday. And the Lions, they edged it out. It's BNL, brand new Lions.
BNL, I love it. And I mean, the North is in trouble this year, man. I mean, the Bears look like shit. The Vikings lost to the Bucks. The Packers look good, honestly, but is Jordan Love really the truth? I guess we will find out. Yeah. But enough NFL. Let's dive into what really matters here. Week 1 recap of the D-League, and what a week it was. I couldn't believe how low scoring it was across the entire board.
Yeah, it was very low scoring. There was only 2 teams that were above 100, and scratch that, 2 teams above 90 in the entire league. That is just insane.
That's crazy.
That just goes to show, if we want points, make the switch to PPR, commish. Come on now. Give the people what they want. We don't want to see 80-point scoring weeks. We want to see 120, 130.
A win is a win. It doesn't matter if the score is 70 to 68 or if it's a 170 to 68. A win is a win. And this is just how we do things here. I mean, if you don't like it, you know where the door is. So
I do like PPR better, but this is the league that I care about the most. So I put up a standard, and it does add its own wrinkle into it, and I do enjoy it. I enjoyed the bonuses as well. It adds a whole other element that I can't get in any other league.
For sure. So let's jump into some of these recaps. It looks like here on the list, unfortunately, we have to talk about this one first. Denver Dust Balls, 111. Ogama Do You Jobbers, 82. A really tough and gritty game for 90% of it. And we go into, what was it, Sunday night?
Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday night football. And the Denver Dallas defense Dust Balls took over the game. I mean, 38 points. Are we serious?
Yeah, I didn't do any research coming into this, but that's got to be, I imagine, one of the highest scoring defensive performances in fantasy history. 38 points is ridiculous, regardless of the player, let alone a defense when you can easily get negative points.
It's just funny because we talked about how low scoring the week was. I put up 82. Like, I didn't have a great week, but I was right in the mix with everyone else. And once I saw Joe Burrow go for 3 points, I was like, oh my God, I have a shot. And all my hopes and dreams were just crushed. So Denver takes that one.
I will say this. I will add in. Mudge did hit you with the early reverse jinx GG, and it worked. So that just goes to show every time how powerful that thing is.
And I think I might skip a game or two here on our list, but I think I saw 2 reverse GGs. I saw the Fort Wayne Mad Ants early GG Golden Taint. I saw an unhappy reaction in the fantasy group message by Golden Taint. And look how the final score turned out. Fort Wayne 80, Golden Taint 76. I mean, another low score, but man, that reverse GG is a menace this year.
Yeah, it works like a charm. I'm going to have to take note of that heading into future matchups. Hopefully I don't need to use it, but I just don't want it to get used against me. So maybe I'll just pull it out regardless. But yeah, in that matchup, I will say last week we did a little gambling segment. We each took our favorite spreads of the week. I did take Josh plus, I think +5 or something. It did cover. So 1-0 on the year. Happy about that. Josh probably isn't as happy because he doesn't care about the spread. They're just trying to win.
That's right. Yeah, that was an interesting game. I mean, come on. Could the schedule maker have given me one of those teams week 1? But, it is what it is. That's what makes fantasy football fun is you could score 100 points and lose. You can score 80 points and win. That's just the way it goes. So on to the next game. We have and a little foreshadowing here to our next podcast guest. Lang's football team 128 and Mark's Flying Circus 84. Let's just start by talking about Tyreek Hill. I mean, that guy's nuts.
Every year, like it really amazes you, like how good he is with Tua, and it makes you wonder how did him and Patrick Mahomes not break every single NFL record? Like it is just insane. The guy. He gets faster with age. He's amazing. He's a stud. Ashton's team, they came out number 1 in the power rankings. I did chirp him a little bit. Say, do we start with 10? Do we start with 1? We started with 1. He came out, put up the highest scoring performance in the league by 17 points. And that's with having Josh Allen put up 11 points and his tight end put up a goose egg. So, he's got a scary team week 1. We'll see if they can stay consistent, stay healthy. But he's looking like he is a true threat this year.
And I'm excited to get him on here a little bit later. Really curious to see.
Yep, that's a great interview.
And just kind of dive into what it's like to be inside the mind of right now the guy that's on top of the league. So on to our next matchup here. We have the only out of division game in the league in week 1. Our first rivalry of the year, Chuck's Cucks versus Southside Silly Sliders. And I mean, Chuck got it done 89-81. That was another kind of interesting game, if you will.
Yeah, that was a very interesting game. Close matchup, low scoring. Justin got his guy this year with Lamar, but Lamar did not start off very high. I think he put up like 6 points. And, when your quarterback that you took early, he puts up 6 points, it's not normally going to be a good week. But I do think he has some good running back depth on his squad. He has Breece Hall sitting there on the bench. And I'll say a little bit later when we interview Ashton, but Breece Hall is looking very good this year, especially week 1.
For sure. And then that brings us into our final game, the game of the week. Turn Your Head in Golf versus Clark Barr's football team. And Clark Barr, you put the beating on him. I mean, this guy scored 66 points, and he was projected the highest in the league, right?
Yeah, that's right. I said it last episode. Projections, they don't mean much, especially on ESPN. Their projections are a joke, and anything could go out and happen. Trent does have an interesting strategy with his wide receiver situation. He put up 2 Bengals. They only combined for 4 points this week. We'll see if future weeks, if Joe Burrow can get those 2 boys going and he can hopefully put up more than 66 points.
Yeah, I think in his defense and in the defense of Denver too, I mean, what a just crappy, rainy, nasty day in Cleveland. And that Cleveland defense was buzzing all day. I think after Jamar Chase called them elves, I think it was a little bit of bulletin board material. And they just got their asses kicked. I mean, I can't say anything else. So it was a weird day in Cleveland. It was a nasty, rainy day. So we'll see if Joe Burrow can kind of pick it up here coming week 2.
I think he will. I think Trent's team, they'll be fine. I just got lucky enough to face them when the Bengals decided to put up a goose.
For sure. So there's your week 1 recap. A lot of good games and really excited for week 2 coming. So, as we're going to do every week, we do have our power rankings coming out. A couple people stayed the same. There were a couple big movers in the league. Let's just start with one. Why can't I win? I mean, he started at 1. He put up the most points in the league. First off, I want to say kudos to our analyst, Mr. Josh, for putting him at number 1. And then sure enough, like he showed that he belongs there.
Yeah, he backs it up. This was a big reason why we wanted him to come on the pod this week. Backed up his number 1 performance, and I in the power rankings it goes 1, 2, but I really think it's right now it's 1 and 2's down here. Ashton's team, they're looking very solid.
I love it, and I don't. Maybe we're reverse jinxing this, and Ashton will crumble, but we'll see.
You're catching on to me.
So at number 2, actually our biggest mover of the week started at 7, I think.
Yep,
and is now up to 2. Chucks Cox. I mean, the guy showed up and showed out.
Yeah, very consistent fantasy player. You knew he started off the year number 7 in the power rankings, but he's always going to be in the mix. Not surprised to see him move up this much. I do have to face him this week, so I'm a bit scared about that, but I think it's going to be a great matchup.
For sure. So on to number 3, the man himself, Mr. Clark Barr. I'll let you take this one. How'd you feel about your week 1 performance? How do you feel about where you're at in the power rankings?
My week 1 performance wasn't as good as I would have liked. I mean, I only put up like 87 points. So I think my team can break the century mark. CMC, he's going to do his thing out there. As long as that boy can stay healthy, I'm going to be right in the mix. And I think my team is only going up.
Love it. So on to number 4, Denver Dallas defense dust balls. Sorry, I have to throw that in there. I mean, interesting to see where this guy started. I think he started at 2. Now he got bumped down to 4. I mean, it makes sense. That's just not a consistent performance from his defense. But I do think there is still a lot of points to be scored in areas that he didn't do so well. Like a quarterback putting up 3 points, especially a guy by the name of Joe Burrow, now the highest paid player in the league, I think, or in NFL history, I guess I should say. Only putting up 3 points. I mean, I guess, he gave away some points there. He earned some back on the defense. So, down 2 spots in the power rankings, but I do still think he belongs there in the top 5.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him move down as far as he did, to be honest with you. He started off number 2. He came out second highest scorer on the week. You think he would stay 2. But as you alluded to, the Dallas defense, they're not going to put up 38 points every week. So, you take away about 30 of those points, and he's right down there with all of us in the 80s. So it makes sense.
For sure. So on to number 5 and in here to the back half, we have the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. Honestly, them moving up 3 spots just doesn't sit right with me. I don't think that team is that great. He used the reverse GG to gain an unfair advantage. So up 3 spots, especially when he put up 80 points, was a little bit suspect for me, but maybe the analysts are seeing something that I'm not. That's why, I'm sitting here in front of you guys and they're, doing their homework. So what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, like you said, this was very surprising to see him move up 3. He did have a close victory over Josh. Some may say you could put an asterisk over it. Josh had a couple players combined for negative points, but it's all right. It happens. I'm just kidding. We're not gonna put an asterisk over anything. He's a Mauser. They're gonna be in the mix. We'll see if he can stay consistent, stay in the top 5 come week 14.
For sure. So on to number 6, down 2 spots from last week's rankings, the Southside Silly Sliders. You alluded to this already. Lamar didn't have his best day. I think that's just kind of him getting his feet wet a little bit again. And I would be surprised if the Sliders, don't get back into that top 5.
Yeah, I have Mark Andrews on my squad. He's one of Lamar's favorite targets, and Mark Andrews is out this past week. I think that might be a big reason why Lamar had a bad performance. Also, I mean, they just rolled over the Texans, so he didn't really need to throw the ball much. I think the Sliders will bounce back this week, and we'll see him move up in next week's power rankings.
Agreed. On to number 7, we had our biggest mover. Now we have our biggest loser. The defending champs, the Golden Taint Warriors, down 4 spots from the week 1. I mean, was he the second worst scoring team behind Goff? this week, I think, at 76. Does that sound right?
Nope. That is right. It was not a good week. And as I alluded to a little bit ago, his defense put up -1. His tight end put up 0.4. You know, you're not going to win many weeks when you have those two positions doing that bad.
Agreed. Yeah, that was a tough one, but he'll bounce back. He always does. And we'll see what happens here in week 2. Next on our list here is Turn Your Head and Goff. I mean, a lot of hype coming into the season. Was projected number 1 in the entire league in scoring for week 1, and the guy put up a goose egg. I mean, just an overall I don't even want to call it not great, because like that's being generous, but I mean, he put up 66 points. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was very happy to play him this week. I think that goes to show you how high risk, high reward having a stack like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on your team can be. You know, there'll be weeks where the Bengals are going to put up 40 and Trent's going to win his week off those two alone. But then there's going to be weeks like this week or this past week where they combine for 4 points. You know, I was on the lucky end of it. I think his squad will bounce back though.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he has a decent squad and has a good chance to bounce back. So, definitely not stuck there at the 8 spot. A lot of football left.
Definitely.
I'm not going to take too much time on these last 2. We're just going to rattle them off both at the same time. Mark's Flying Circus, Ogama Do You Jobbers. I mean, both had very average weeks. We were both right in the mix in our, well, I want to say in our games. He was in his, I was in mine for a while until I wasn't. But I mean, it is what it is. Neither of those two teams had great performances, and so they're just stuck there at the bottom.
Yeah, I won't comment too much or pour it on you. I think you already know. You can feel the weight when you're on the bottom like that, but I think your team will bounce back, and maybe next week we'll be talking about you in the 9 spot.
Maybe. I mean, I honestly didn't hate my week 1 performance. I would have liked, and actually I think you and I were talking about this on Sunday. I had Calvin Ridley, who stepped out by an inch maybe on what would have been like a 50-yard touchdown. That's a 10-point swing. And I also had Justin Fields throw like a 30-yard pitch and catch. The guy stepped out by another fraction of an inch, which would have been another, 8 or so points. So I don't even hate my performance. My running backs got a lot of touches.
38-point defense.
Yeah, it's like, what can you do? So I don't even hate it. I'm not even mad about week 1. Like if my team would have laid a goose egg, it would have been different, but I felt like they did fine. So whatever. We're number 10. We're going on to next week, and we got the number 9 guy. So maybe we can squeak one out.
I got faith.
Awesome. Well, that wraps it up for our recap. Let's lead you guys into the next segment here. Really excited to have this guy on the podcast. I mean, he's a league favorite, maybe, or a league anti-favorite. I don't even know what to call him.
Who are you talking about? Confused.
Well, let's find out. Welcome, everybody, to the greatest segment of every week, where we bring one of you onto the pod with us. This week, I'm so damn excited for who's on here. This is a guy that looks unstoppable. I mean, Hunter, what would you say?
Yeah, he came out strong in the power rankings. I made a joke. Did we start at 10 or did we start at 1? We certainly started at 1.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say after this guy's week 1 performance. Without further ado, and really no introduction needed, your number 1 player in the D League after 1 week of fantasy football, Mr. Ashton Lang. Why Can't I Win? It is an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Noah. Good to see you, Hunter.
It's a pleasure.
Well, we're excited, Ashton. I mean, first off, we wanted to give you the forum. You're number 1 in the power rankings. We're 1 week into the season, and you absolutely blew everybody out of the water. We just want to give you the stage real quick. Go ahead and talk your shit. Like, let the league know what you're feeling.
I'm gonna keep a little humble on this one. You know, number 1 in power rankings this early don't mean a whole lot. Doesn't matter where you start, matters where you end. But, it's always good to see the first one fall on. You're going against a Mauser week 1. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you're going to walk into. Usually a good trap game. Mark usually can bring in the storm week 1, but I was able to, contain them, get the job done. looking forward to the next week
Yeah.
against another Mauser.
Yep, opening up with the Mausers back to back kind of just feels like a gift. I don't know who set the schedule, but whoever did, it was me, gave you a cakewalk in week 1 and 2. So, Hunter, I know you have some questions here for Ashton, as do I. So if you want to kick us off, you go right ahead.
Yeah, this is the question that we're going to ask every guest that comes on. But what's your favorite D-League memory?
My favorite, oh, that's easy. I don't know, a couple years back, Lane's basement, 20 seconds before the draft, Wi-Fi router gets
my
reset.
God.
Nobody has any connection.
That
Everyone was
was
at like freaking out. We finally got to pause the draft, and the only person that wasn't there was Mark Mauser, and he's freaking out because the draft paused.
Now, did we ever figure out what happened there? Did we figure out what happened? Did someone shut it off? Like, didn't Lane reset it or some
I
shit?
think it was. I think it was Mudge was having problems syncing his laptop on the Wi-Fi, and then I don't know. It was just total chaos. We helped Mudge with it, but when we helped Mudge, Lane ran upstairs, reset the whole router, and then the chaos come flooding in from there.
That
Yeah.
was chaos.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hunter.
Chaos sums it up. That is definitely one of the most memorable draft nights, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. So I want to get right into the meat and potatoes of this conversation. I kind of have a 2-part question for you here. One, give us a rundown of how you felt your week 1 performance went, but then along with that, kind of give us a little insight as to what it's like to have a target on your back as right now the best player in the D-League.
That's pretty humble to say, to accept that, but I don't know. I might brush that one off. But I think some players could play good, some players play bad. It's any given week. I had a good couple players like Tariq Hill that literally carried me through the week. Luckily, I had a pretty good week everywhere else. I had Goddard drop me 0. Can't have that. DJ Moore 2.5. That's not fun.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, shaky week, but I was blessed to have a Tariq Hill. Bijan played good. I'm pretty excited about him coming through the season. A little workload to Tyler. What's his name?
Algier, I think.
Algier, the
Yeah.
backup.
Yep.
That's not a fun. Not pretty fun to see him score twice. But you know what? Early season, rookie running back's not going to handle the workload week 1. They're going to lean him into it. And Aaron Jones actually surprised me a lot. Had a couple good touchdown runs and a couple good receptions for big gains. And hopefully that hamstring is not as severe as they think, and he's ready to go week 2.
Well, I will say this. It was a low-scoring affair across the NFL and across the D-League. I mean, we had, I think, only a few people above 90. Like, that's very low for the D-League. And so to be the guy that would you put up like 130 or somewhere along those lines? Like, do you just feel like you're just head and shoulders above everybody else?
No, I don't. I think it's any given week. It could happen to anybody, but, you know, you're on top, you're on top.
I love it. And I'll be honest, Ashton, you passed my test. I was trying real hard to bait you into something there. And we were going to use that as a clip on a future pod here. But you passed the test. Humble beast. I love it. And, you know, I only wish the best from you, for you from here on out.
Appreciate it.
All right. How do you feel? You know, last week we unveiled the rivalry week. You have Josh as a rival. Let's kind of walk us through how you feel about that. Is Josh truly your rival in the league, or do you think it should have been someone else?
I have a couple rivals. You know, I feel like me and Noah have a good rivalry. Me and Justin, but when I'm coming that last week of the season, there's no other person I'd rather beat than Josh right there. That's a good player. That's the game you circle on your calendar, and you do not want to lose. He's going to bring it, and I'm going to bring it, and the best man come on top.
Love it.
I love it. I love it. As the defending champ too, I mean, there's that saying, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and you got them twice on the schedule. So you have a chance to go out and prove yourself that, you know, week 1's no fluke and that this team is a true powerhouse.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's definitely a game that usually has playoff
For sure. So kind of leading off that question, I know you kind of alluded to having a couple other rivals in the league. I mean, you and I would play week one, in previous years. You and Justin would have a lot of really good games. Is there any certain matchup this season that when you saw the schedule release, you were like, okay, we're circling this one. Like, I cannot wait for it. Any certain matchup that sticks out, or do you kind of treat every matchup the same?
To an extent, but week 5, no Dearly's coming to town. The boys gonna be ready to play. I'll tell you that.
Cooper Cup coming out game.
A lot of crap last season. They're ready to play.
Yeah,
Cooper Cup's ready to play.
I hope so too, man.
And leading into that, I know it's early. It's week 2, but your division, it can be weak. You guys beat up on each other throughout the year. Who do you see rivaling you for that number 1 seed in the Maroon division?
I don't know, man. The Maroon division usually is pretty consistently the same throughout each team. It's pretty level playing field usually, so it's too early to say, but I don't know. I think Mudge has a good shot. He has a good roster. Justin, can't rule him out. Noah, he's due. He's due. He could be a scary team coming through, and you can never count out the Circus. The Circus is always a contender in the Maroon division.
So I'm gonna kind of eat at you a little bit here. I want a 1 through 5. What your prediction is going to be for the Maroon division this year? I want the 3 playoff teams, and tell me who's going to go 4 and 5 in that division after week 1. The way too early prediction of the Maroon division. I gotta know. I gotta hear it.
I don't know, number 1 team, the power rankings. I got to see myself on top of the division, taking that
Love it.
division home this year. Number 2, I'm going to give Nathan Mudge. I think he has a pretty good team, and I think he can make a playoff run. And number 3, I'm going to give you the Flying Circus. I think Mark Mauser is going to push his way into the playoffs this year, which I'm giving Justin his first non-playoff year since I think being in the league. I think someone quote me on that, but I don't think Justin's missed playoffs.
I'd have to check. I don't know.
It sounds right though.
And then
his name just doesn't look good in the consolation bracket.
No, I'm trying to think of any time.
Way too early.
Yeah,
way too early. Yeah, this is also way too early. But
way too early.
Without Cooper Cup, the team's got to circle around someone. I hope you figure that out. And it's not. I don't know. There's a couple question marks, but it's obviously exaggerations. Week 1, who knows what's going to happen? I could have 3 players tear ACL and I finish last. So
knock on something.
Football.
Knock on something. I'm over here knocking. I don't know if you can hear it, but
I don't got one. Oh, I got one.
Well, Ashton, we really appreciate the insight. It's an honor to have, the number 1 player in the rankings here on the pod. You and I, we're holding down each end of the spectrum here. So it's a pleasure to have you on here. And just one last thing, I want to give you the floor before we let you go here. Anything you want to tell the league, anything that's been on your mind, open forum, let's hear it.
All I got to say, hey, better be ready because I think this is my year.
Love it.
I love it. The confidence, the humbleness, everything about it. I'll be honest, Ashton, you don't have a team that scares me many years, but I'll tell you what, the squad's looking damn good this year. So really excited to see where you end up.
Yeah. Hopefully Todd Gurley comes back somehow, some way. He'll get in the roster.
Todd Gurley makes his return for a championship run.
Yeah, hey, our Jamal Charles, anything can happen.
Yeah, there you go. Anything else for us, Hunter? You have anything else for Ashton while we have him here?
Nothing. It was a pleasure. You passed the test. We tried baiting you into getting something that we could clickbait the title with, but you didn't give it to us. So well done on that part, and I wish you the best this season.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, guys. Also, I got Eagles Thursday night.
All right, I love it.
Call my shot.
I love it. All right, Ash. Well, peace, man. It was a pleasure, and see you week 5, brother.
Yeah, we'll see you week 5. See you, Hunter.
Thank you. That was a fantastic interview. The mic quality wasn't very great with Ashton, but it adds to the Ashton aura, you know. You couldn't come in here with perfect mic quality; it just wouldn't be the same. He can't.
Let's hope the rest of his season goes better than his microphone did in that interview. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, if we're judging seasons by microphone quality, well, he'll be in the consolation bracket.
For sure. So we got one more thing for you. We definitely want to talk about the week 2 matchups coming up. First one, we got Clark Bar's football team against the Cucks. Clark Bar, a big favorite. How you feeling about that this week?
Yeah, 6-point favorite. You know, I got Mark Andrews hopefully coming back this week. My squad looked pretty solid last week. I'm hoping this week we can knock off number 2 in the power rankings. I think we got a good chance.
For sure. This next one's going to be interesting. There's a couple what feel like toilet bowl games this week after, the 2 lowest scorers of week 1 are facing off. The Golden Taint Warriors are almost 6.5 point favorites against Turn Your Head and Golf. This one might be a stinker, or it could be a high scoring game. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised to see like a 120 to a 115 here.
Yeah, you know, these are 2 teams that they may have been in the bottom of the power rankings this week, but I don't think that's a true reflection on their overall season power rankings. You know, Josh started off number 3 in the power rankings. Trent last week had the highest projected points. I think both these teams will bounce back. And like you said, I can see this being like a 110 to 105 matchup or something like that.
100%. So I just alluded to 2 toilet bowl matchups this week. This is going to be number 2 of 2. Like watching this game is like taking a number 2. I mean, the Ogama Do You Jobbers, the 10 seed against Mark's Flying Circus, the 9 seed. I mean, not even sure what to expect here. Mark's a 6.8 point favorite. I don't even know if these teams will combine for 6.8 points.
You know, this will be a very exciting matchup. I think this has the potential to go down as one of the best matchups of the week. And, you know, maybe you can get your first win, knock off number 9, and move up in those power rankings for next week.
Yeah, we'll see. Next up on the list, we have here the Fort Wayne Mad Ants against Lang's football team. Lang, another big favorite this week, 7.2 points. How do you feel about that line?
Honestly, I think that might be not enough. You know, he came out number 1 in the power rankings and he put up a massive performance. I think I would honestly take this line if it was -10. But you have your gambling pick at the Mad Ants +7. So talk me through this pick. What are you seeing here in this matchup that I'm not?
I just think that Ashton had such a big performance from just a couple people, and I think those will start to kind of, slow down a little bit. And I mean, the Mad Ants have some good players. I just feel like 7 points is a lot, and I'm not saying the Mad Ants will win, but I could see a backdoor cover, coming here in the future for week 2.
Definitely makes sense. I can see that. Definitely can see that. So moving on, we got the Southside Silly Sliders versus the Denver Dust Balls. The Dust Balls are coming in here as a almost 5-point favorite. You know, they're actually my favorite pick this week. You know, these are 2 teams that are very consistent. They're always in the playoffs. We got the 3-time champ versus the 2-time champ from the Maroon Division. These guys, they're holding the weight of the Maroon Division on their shoulders. And I think this week, the Dust Balls come out on top. You know, I don't think the Dallas defense is going to put up 38 again, but maybe they put up 15 or something, and that from a defense, you'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, that's interesting that this is your favorite pick, because if I was looking at this line, I think I would take the Sliders with the points. I mean, this guy, started off the season in an out of division game. He's coming back home against a division opponent. And one of the guys that's always competing with him for those playoffs. Well, I think the Southside Silly Sliders bounce back. I think Lamar has a big game, and I love the Sliders with the points here. I might even take them outright.
Wow. I liked Ashton -7. You like Mauser +7. I like Mudge -5. You like Justin +5. We're just on the opposite of everything, and we'll see who's right this week.
For sure. Well, that just about wraps it up for us. Next week, obviously, we'll be doing a lot of the same things, just, kind of recapping the previous week. We'll see, who surprised us, who disappointed us. Hopefully, some of the teams that aren't in the win column quite yet can post their first dub. Hunter, anything in particular you're looking forward to in next week's show?
Next week's show, we'll probably be recording from our home studios. We can only do Arrowhead or a stadium, once every couple of episodes, but I'm looking forward to next week. I think we're going to have some big surprises. By then we're going to really have a good idea of where people are at and where they should be ranked in the power rankings. So looking forward to it.
For sure. And as always, we will have a new guest on.
Yes.
And we're really excited for next week's guest. I think it's going to be quite the interview.
Yeah, this could be the most exciting episode. Let's say that.
Well, stay tuned for who it's going to be. If you tuned in this long in this show, you're a serious trooper. Thank you. And as always, see you next time. Peace.
Thank you.